All right, folks. Happy Friday evening, TGIF. Now, and only now is it TGIF when there's no more work. So, a little bit of change of plans. I think for your case, good. I will not be going out of town this weekend, so expect a lot of painting. So, we've got one gun crewman done, and we started working on the other guy, and we ended up like passing out from sleep. So we'll try to avoid that. I actually have to stay up pretty late today, whether I want to or not. So I can't guarantee that I'm going to be painting for the next 6 hours, but I've got to stay up for like 6 hours. I've got to go pick up my daughter. She's on a field trip right now. So I'm sure I'm probably going to end up taking a break at some point. But let's see how far we can go. We should have painting tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. And, if you guys wanted to get something done with me jibber-jabbing this weekend, well, your dream has come true. Hopefully you got better dreams than that. It's kind of a waste. But I just have to find all my things wherever the hell they got put to. Where's my magic juices at? It's never over here. Well, it's been over here once, this time. All right. Let's go going, and people will show up whenever they show up. All right, so we did his shirt. We got pants. The other guy's got brown pants. We're gonna give this guy. Some greenish trousers. Got off early today. I did. It's a miracle. So we're off to painting. Oh, this is just pure garbage. Green's another one of those colors that you have to be a little bit more. Got a piece of a cracker stuck in my throat. You got to be a little bit more determined when you shake it. All right. Yeah, I picked up some coffee on the way home, so I should be cranked up. And although I really don't want the taste of it, I want the energy, the motivation, liquid motivation. I've got to stay up till probably 11:30 or so. 11:30 p.m. So I better find it in me to stay up that late. For some reason, these guys are all wearing tall boots. Well, this is what they call Eastern European artillery crew. It's not specific of the time, so this could very well be something that's more geared towards the 1600s or something like that. instead of the 1400s, but you know what? It'll make do. Okay, that's about all it's showing right there. Let's go flesh this guy. Oh, I moved this thing. This needs to be right here. I even went looking for it, and it wasn't there. You saw something funny at Target. Pabst Blue Ribbon hard coffee. That is like a train wreck. I don't think I've ever had Pabst Blue Ribbon. Does it taste any worse than like a Miller or something like that? Life's too short to drink average beer. I'm not a fan of beer in a can to begin with. Here we go. Pabst Blue Ribbon hard coffee. I think there's like a resurgence. I don't know whether it's a gag or something. A gag that people actually drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. I know several people that actually voluntarily go out of their way and buy, with all the other choices that are available, buy Bud Light. I do not know why. I mean, I guess they just don't like the taste of beer. Hey, you know, we live in a time when there's all kinds of different choices. So people are welcome to make them however they want. But Pabst Blue Ribbon, that reminds me of Keystone Light when it came out in the early '90s, and Ice House, and what else came? Bud Dry, Zima. But hard coffee, I say blah. Well, coffee already dehydrates you, so if it's alcoholic, it dehydrates you even more. Zima. If you really wanted to get the girls drunk, Woodchuck Draft Cider. I believe it was called Draft Cider. It's like apple juice with a kick. This guy's got a face on it that a Mongol would love. Guy's not fun at parties. A face only a Mongol would love. Somebody be watching from Mongolia and be upset with that comment. Well, maybe if they wouldn't have raped and pillaged their way across the world, I'd think better of them. All right. I think we need a new replacement for our detailed face brush. A new candidate. That's what should do. Said I didn't check to see if this was the correct equipment that artillery crew members in the late 1400s would have. Might be that they didn't have this little scoop thing yet. Well, that's how it's going to go. It's the only artillery crew made by Essex that's Eastern European looking. They got mustaches, that should work. When in doubt, give the boy a mustache. Oh, we got 0 viewers. All right, going in the right direction. Everybody's still at work. Yeah, we'll see. We'll get, hopefully some other people will come on here. If not, I'll probably be bored and we'll have to stop the feed because the whole reason to do this is to have some interaction with some other folks. No biggie. To switch the laundry. I never checked what time it was. I think it's been going 15 minutes. I'll check on it 1:45. Got to stay ahead of the laundry or all of a sudden you're going to spend like 2 days solid just doing laundry. I don't want to do that. I wouldn't do it that often, but there are 3 of us, so. And just like that, there's 3 viewers. Welcome. Welcome to the all-nighter. Hardly, but. All right. Had somebody made a comment on my videos. I said, man, how do you get so much painting done? I said, you got a family, you got a full-time job? You paint? How do you get time to do that? So one of these videos here, and I told him, I said, add up how much time most people watch television or sports. How much time do most people watch sports? And they're not even playing them. I don't have anything against sports per se, but you should at least be playing the sport, not just sitting on the couch potato. So just add up how much time you spend on that, and then I know what it was. They were asking me, how did I have the time to do the research on the correct helmets and stuff for the poles? So I look it up, and I'm inquisitive, and I want to get the armies done right. But how much time do people waste watching? Not waste. It's how you feel like you spending your day. It's entertaining. Entertainment. How much time do you spend watching television? Usually, the only time I'm ever watching television is at my lunch break at work, because I can either watch TV or I could do this. So I'd rather do this. It's a hell of a lot more relaxing. I don't know if it's more relaxing, but it's more rewarding. At the end of the day, you have something to show for it. And there's just so much garbage television on. How much time are people spending watching the Olympics? I'm spending none of it. When did they start? I'm always surprised. You have a finite amount of resources, and more than resources, and I'm only saying resources aren't that important because I still think this hobby is really inexpensive. If you have some self-control, just like I don't think drinking alcohol is expensive if you have some self-control. I hardly drink, so it doesn't really matter to me, but I'm just saying, this is pretty cheap. So, I try to go, back before pandemics, I try to go to the shows that I can because I don't have another hobby. I don't go to sports games. I don't go to concerts. This is what I do. So, yeah, why wouldn't I want to go to all of them? This is the one thing that I do. But some people they just get involved in too many things. More isn't better. And that might be what they like, but that's not what I like. I like to... There's not time to do everything, so... Scales. I know several people who do this hobby and they do the same... say they're collecting World War II skirmish and they'll do it in multiple scales. I don't have time for all that, You pick a scale and you go with it. Not a cost thing for me, just there's only so much for me to go around, How much time do you guys spend watching television? We've watched television as a family and stuff, but, if the whole family can't watch a show, we generally don't watch it. All right, his fleshy parts are done. What color hat does this guy have? I feel like this guy needs a brown hat. Let's give the boy a brown hat. And use that only for details on the face. Yeah, maybe it's just too early today. Oh, it isn't too early in the UK. The land of toys. The United Kingdomus. Still got some water left over? I do. Yeah. So the plan is, unless I change it, is to finish up this figure and 2 more, and then all the parts to the cannon are done. Then we go and paint a fast horde. Then we go and paint Dracula himself. That's what the plan is. And then, you know, go and paint the other figure, the other commander, and the other army. Because he can be a knight. I guess I could get away with using the same figure in both. I'm not going to do that. Dracula's Dracula, and that's that. So, the other figure's coming in the mail. So, I'm sure he'll be here plenty ahead of time before we need him. Plenty of time. Okay, and we'll do the, we'll use the same brown, but we need a new white out here. For sure, for sure. I can hardly believe it. I'm already falling asleep. Already falling asleep. Drinking coffee that could, literally, you could pour it on a graveyard and wake the dead. And yet here I am, falling asleep. Okay. Now we just need to get that stick. Let's get some of this. We gotta bring the yellow color back out. It's about dead. Welcome, welcome. Green ochre. Yeah, unfortunately, this is the time that I'm really tired at because, hell, I've been up since 5 in the morning. So. "5 minutes, we'll go take a little break and take a look at the clothes, make sure everything's still okay." Sometimes I mix these yellow colors with brown. Sometimes I mix it with black, depending on whether I want it dirty or not, grimier. All right, let's add more of this yellow. Yellowage. Okay. You guys like this top view better? We'll try that for a little bit. It's not for me, it's for you guys, so. Looks like a familiar icon. Who do we have here? Cat Roger. Right. Good evening. Good evening to you. The Catman. Good view. You like that, huh? Okay. That'll work. That will work. Yeah, even if I don't do this for very long and don't get a whole lot of people in here, it's still moving towards the end goal of getting this army done. What is my goal for armies to paint this year? I don't have one. I don't have goals. I don't have mission statements. I certainly don't have mission statements. Bunch of nonsense. Learn more about blending paints on the palette, watching you mate. Yeah, you just got to do it. You just got to, it's experiment. I don't have any. I don't have any goals. I mean, I don't have any. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to complete these guys. I'm going to complete these guys completely. Yes, very much so. Gun crew. Once they're done, we got a fast horde to do. We have the general to do, who's a cav. That's Dracula himself. We have a knight general to do, which is the Moldavian guy. Then this army's complete. We need to do some Polish allies, which is 3 stands of knights for sure, and a fast blade, and probably a war wagon. I'm not so sure about the war wagon. I may change tack. And then we'll worry about what we're doing next. I only have a plethora of ones to choose from, so kind of been itching to paint some elephants, but, I like these crappier armies better, I got these crappier armies better, so. Yeah, it's a long project. My Hungarian project was extremely long also. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to check. Hold that thought. I'm going to check on the clothes and transfer them over to the dryer, and I'll be right back. And just to prove I'll be right back, I'll even say I'll be right back. Okay, and just like that, we're back. Um, da-da-da-da-da-da. Good evening, Mr. Patriot. I've been with you since the Amorites and enjoy the enthusiasm of your project. It helps me with mine. It just takes forever, you know? I mean, it just, you know, I mean, if you want to go quick, I mean, you can. I want to be done when, I don't want to look at my stuff and say, man, if I would have just taken a little bit more effort. When I got crazy hair, well, I took a shower and I didn't put anything. I'll tell you what, let's go get a hat. I don't want to scare anybody off here. I'm really not a hat person. I just, it's an easy way to, not put shit in your hair. And, you know, so forth. So, there he is, Rick. You know, I actually had somebody, I thought about you at lunchtime. Somebody tried to hand me a freaking medium drink. And I will not take that for an answer. And then they wanted to give me this face like, you know. I hate going through drive-thrus, I'll be honest with you. I hate going through drive-thrus. But I just didn't want to bring my lunch today. You go through a drive-thru, you get crappy food, you get attitude, and oh well. I've worked customer service before. It's you know, it's some people are a pain in the ass and you can't be pleased, but most people are decent, but man. Yeah, don't give me a damn medium drink that looks like a small. You know, I go to lunch and I get a soda, which is what I got. I only get one in the day, so I want it to be a big one. You know? So, the audacity. Yeah, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care. Gave me attitude, so you know it wasn't Chick-fil-A. Those people run a tight ship there. Yeah, I don't want no medium drink. All right. I say this guy's got a black mustache too. Why not? Again, like I said earlier, you guys weren't on. This guy's got a face that only a Mongol mother could love. Get all the Mongol people. Somebody from Mongolia is going to be all upset. Hey, you shouldn't have tried to burn and pillage the entire world. I was reading something about the Mongols. I got a friend of mine who has, I think he wants to be a Mongol or enamored with them or, you know. Yeah, they're the freaking bad guys. Sorry, folks. I used to go out flat. I used to go flat out painting regiment after regiment of Napoleonics. Just learn how to pace myself now. My work's a lot better now. Hey, you know, do it however you want. You know. I actually got a thought, but you know, I squashed it. But we played. I think we have a video. Do we have a video of it? I don't know if we shot a video of it or not. I don't remember. Anyways, Mitch's friend Joel, who does Napoleonics and stuff with us, knew him from up north when Mitch lived up there. He's a painter, and he got in this rule set called Maurice, and we played several games of it. And I think he's in the middle of painting that stuff right now. And I even thought, it's a pretty decent game, and I even thought, like, well, maybe I could paint some units or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, what would I do? I'd do Austrians, and maybe if I primed them in white and then do like a series of like washes for like the stuff, it might be an interesting experiment. I'm like, it's just going to take me from doing this. It's not that, you know, I'm against painting other periods, but it's like, you know, if I paint this stuff, these guys will see videos, we'll use them in lots of battles, crazy stuff's going to happen. It's like win, 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 So I really can't deviate into other things as interesting. And one of the biggest reasons for me to deviate and get into a new period is to learn about the period. Like if I, my interest in, doing Napoleonics, I really don't have any, but if I did, it'd be like, okay, well, let's learn about the period and the units. And, gaming has always been about learning for me. And then, you can participate in your own weird fashion. And what I mean by that is, you don't, you're not doing reenactment, but, you're making decisions and learning more about it. And hopefully, Mr. Nordic, welcome. It's not Nordic here, that's for sure. We're back in getting into the 80s today. Summer's back. Well, that's not really summer, but I hope that's not all the cold weather we get. That's kind of depressing if that's the case. I don't like running the air conditioning. I like it to be, naturally. All right, let's get some of this color. We're going to do the boots in this color. And no, they're not going to end up being that color, but we're going to use that as a base. So I'm not opposed to other periods, because the interest in doing other periods is you get to learn about them. But, I've come to the realization I've got a finite amount of time. And even doing my World War II stuff, as much fun as we could be having playing that, we're just going to get more use out of this stuff. A couple years ago, I was painting some dinosaurs, and I came to the conclusion, you know what? I'm just going to buy them pre-painted if I want to get around to doing that. One of my small goals this weekend is to learn how to play those set of rules. It's a set of rules that was on Kickstarter called Cretaceous, and I have no idea how they play, but there's counters and stuff in the back, so I think I'm going to print them out this weekend and see if I can get through any of it. Maybe throw down a little scenario, whatever. The rules are made for 1/100 scale, so 15 millimeter scale dinosaurs. So it's a lot smaller than I would want to do. But I just want to see if there's any kind of interest there, in being able to do that. If there's some like meaningful decisions you get to make in a game from turn to turn, that is probably the most important thing for me in a game. When I'm playing this game, are there any meaningful decisions I get to make? Lots of ways to skin a cat and, that kind of stuff. If it's just kind of an autopilot and I'm just kind of holding on, then I'm not really interested in those kind of games, regardless of the period or theme or whatever they are. So, I enjoyed painting the one dinosaur that I had, but I probably spent, 16 hours painting it, that's not a good use of my time, It was 60 degrees here the last 2 days, and now it's down to 30. I'm so jealous. Yes, this platform helps. My vids were Napoleonic until I had a burnout. Started at ACW 28. Just got fed up blue and gray. That's where I got the 15 millimeter pile out. Now, I don't know what the attraction is to American Civil War. I don't get it. I can see Napoleonics, okay? I can see Napoleonics, but the reason I never got into Napoleonics, and I've mentioned this before, is the folks who were playing Napoleonics in our group were kind of the older crowd when I was a kid, and they just weren't having any fun. Now, Mitch and I, we played some Napoleonics. We played some DBN. Had a lot of fun playing DBN, Joel did a couple of battles, and he did some historical scenarios. And as soon as the historical scenario was over, I went home and I got on Wikipedia and I learned about what happened before and afterwards. And, it's not my period, but this isn't really my period either. It is about learning. But American Civil War, I don't know there's many things I would find more boring than American Civil War. But, if you like it, now I don't have any ancestors that were on either side. Maybe that has something to do with it. My people hadn't showed up here yet, or as I like to say, they showed up 500 years ago, find out there was no freaking gold or air conditioning and nothing but bugs and, and just we freaking left. Didn't come back until air conditioning had been invented. So maybe that's part of the attraction. Maybe people are attracted to American Civil War because they have somebody in their family that was on one side, or some people in their family was on both sides. You know, some people in family from each one. Maybe that's an attraction. I don't care for it at all. You know, if that's what you like to do, that's you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know. You're toying with the idea of getting into pike and shot. Very intrigued with the colorful clothing and Lanchneck. Have to do some research on the Italian Wars. I love that period. I absolutely love that. I love that period. But it's too much of a commitment for me right now to get involved in that. Like I said, if I get involved in that, I'm giving up painting more armies for this period, and these are going to get used. So that's how I look at it. I've thought about it for many years. You know, am I going to get involved in doing a Renaissance adaptation? When we did the last one, the reason why, you know, the situation was very different. There was one DVA set of rules everybody was playing. The economy was really slow. And, you know, there wasn't this, I guess, 2009, Facebook had just started. I mean, I think that I think you're just spread too thin, you know. And, okay, I like those boots. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with a belt here. What color belts this guy have? Aha. All right, where's my brown at? Here, let's go. Let's darken this up and use that. Ah, yes, the Russians and other forums are back. Oh, I can't access that from here. All right. Then let me go crapsicle. Let's see. Let's see if I can get to it from here. No. Oh, well, we'll delete that comment later. I don't know what the deal is. They probably got paid a third of a penny to post that. If you want an American Civil War that was more intriguing, you should look at the American War of Independence. It was colonists versus colonists in many of the theaters of war. I agree. You have 28mm Italian wars on the back burner. Do a tercio in 28mm. Woo! I know what I'm doing the next 10 years. And, you know, maybe some people enjoy working on rules. I don't find working on rules therapeutic. This is therapeutic, no doubt. But rules, forget that. And yes, this guy's supposed to look drab. That is the whole idea. If he had money, he'd have a horse. Not scooping out stuff and putting it in a cannon barrel. Hopefully cannon doesn't explode in his face. Right. The brass bits. Oh, is it still alive? Wow, it is barely. It barely is. Blue Man. Blue Moon has some nice looking lanch necks. Yep, that's what mine are. Yep. What the length of Pickett's charge at Gettysburg, and honestly, I don't know how those Mays made that charge. We went a couple of years ago to Gettysburg on our way to Historicon. And I told my wife, I said, I wasn't with her, I went with Mitch. I told my wife, and I said, don't worry, I'm never taking you to a battlefield. It was interesting, but, you know, the coolest thing is they had these markers where, you know, on the top of Little Round Top, where one unit was, it started from here to here. I mean, that's cool. I mean, if you're into that period, you know, I just wasn't into that period. Actually, you know what I dislike the most? Here's what I dislike the most about it. I don't know if there's a damn thing you could do about it, is what you see is not what they saw, because there's like trees that weren't there, or, you know, forget houses, but like there's groups of trees and stuff that have changed where they are. So you're not really getting an exactly accurate picture. Maybe that's just, you know, for some things that are kept so well, like the unit positions and stuff like that, some stuff just, you know, doesn't necessarily represent what they could see. I mean, it was interesting for, you know, we were there too long. It's not my period. Mitch enjoyed it more than I did. Let's put it that way. I'm not a fan of American history, you know. I said the only redeeming thing about ACW is my favorite sculptor in the entire world did make figures in 15 millimeter scale for American Civil War. So it would be my opportunity to paint those. That's it. And the generals that he made are fabulous, because he literally has a general pack, and it says, like, on the little piece of metal in between his legs, you know, they're riding a horse, right? So you got two open legs, and there's the little label that literally says, oh, that's Lee, that's, you know, Custer, that's so-and-so. And sure enough, every guy looks different and has this personality, and, you know, I was impressive. But then, you know, that's why he's my favorite sculptor. You know, he's... But, and he also does Napoleonics too, so I got to be careful. You know, the saving grace about Napoleonics that keeps me from getting into it is Joel and Mitch have every single thing they could possibly have, so it doesn't make any sense for me to get into it. If I want to play with it, you know, they've got the troops for it, you know. So, this guy about done. Yeah, it's a good view up there at Little Round Top. And the Devil's Den, of course, is cool too. But the rest of the stuff in the field, it's like, you know, that's the stuff that's really well preserved. The Little Round Top definitely was pretty cool. With the, you know, the marker, okay, this unit, this regiment was from here to there, and this was, you know, pretty cool. All right, let's compare how these two guys look. I know they're going to look similar-ish. They're good for now. We're going to put them over here to the side. I think we need to bring his hat up a little bit more. I don't know. I must have gotten sidetracked. Didn't bring his hat up, the inside fleece lining or whatever, all the way up. Let's give him a little bit more highlight. Well, let's not do it that watery. How about that? The wet palette really isn't necessary. It doesn't help mixing at all. What it does is if you mix something and you don't get to it immediately, you still are able to scoop it up and use it a little later. I don't think it helps mixing at all, because I was using just a little plastic shim and stuff before. But it does allow you, if you mix something, you see there's a little bit of, this one's still a little wet. If I come back in 15 minutes, I can still use that. So it keeps you from like, damn it, let me stop and make another batch. You know, not that I can't color match the Not that I can't color match the colors. It's just it's time consuming. It's time inefficient. So we have an officer and we got a guy with buckets, or I should say, bucket. Okay, this guy has a long overcoat. Let's make his overcoat brown. And let's use a different brown. Nah, let's not use that one. Let's use English uniform. Devil's Den. Yeah, Devil's Den was really cool. Devil's Den was a cool place to get out of the sun. Because we went, in July, and it was hot as fill in the blank there. It was really, really hot. And we know what hot is where we're from. It was hot. It was hot. All right. So we're going to have a brown overcoat on this dude. And we got the cannon done. Let's see what these guys look like next to the cannon. I want it to look a little drab. I mean, these are poor folks. It's not even their cannon. It's a captured Ottoman piece. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. That's how they got a hold of it. They got one from the Turks. The humidity is just killer here. Oh, we know all about that here. This is swamp-ass country here. There's been times I've come over from Mitch playing, and it's like 85 degrees at night. And you open the door, and the freaking bugs just jump on you, and things must be really bad in the Northeast for people to come and live in Florida. That's all I'm saying. Things must be really bad up there. I don't like the summer at all, unless I'm at the beach, unless I'm somewhere wet. I don't like the summer at all. And it's mainly because of the nights. I can handle it being hot in the daytime. It's the daytime, the sun's out. But when the sun's not out, like, why the hell is it hot? And no breeze here, Let's add a little bit more of this core color. You believe Pennsylvania has similar weather to Spain? Well, my ancestors came too far south then. So glad it's always cold and wet here. It's easier to put on clothes and take off. You're absolutely right. I can't deal with not seeing the sun, though. I can't deal with gray. I can deal with cold. I prefer cold and wet, but I got to have sunlight. You've only had to knock on wood, get in my slow blower out once so far this winter. It was below 30 yesterday and got to nearly 60 today. Wow. Feel another winter storm is going to apply. Well, don't soak it up, man. Share some of that. Share some of it. It's rare when it's cold here that we don't have the bluest skies. So, it's like double reason you want it to be cold. You have clear skies. So, I love wearing long sleeves. Not wearing them today. I love coming home from work and then going to Mitch's house and it's cold, so I just shower before I go over there instead of like, let's see how nasty I can get before I go over to Mitch's house. Nasty is relative. It's not like you smell like BO or anything, but it's his room, the place we play in is basically a shed that you would like store like lawnmowers and stuff in, so to speak. So yeah, it's got 2 AC units, but they're just noisemakers as far as I'm concerned. It's got no insulation. So yeah, last couple times I've gone out there, it's cold. So I'm like, all right, I can take a shower before I go over there. That's the first thing I look forward to when I leave work is taking a shower. But in the summer, you got to be kidding me. Forget that. Let's start lightening it up from here. I don't think we need to make it browner than that. I think that's well enough. Snowblower. How does that even work? I don't even have a clue. You can have all our snow. If you hate gray skies, avoid Pittsburgh through winter. The sky is just a constant gray, yeah. Well, I don't want to shovel anything. Like I said, that's just more Mother Nature on the rag. All right, have the day off. No, you don't. You got to shovel the driveway. Screw you, Mother Nature. You got too many Yankees up there, too. Oh, man. I know we've been driving on the way to Historicon many times. I've told Mitch, said, man, I'd hate to be on this road in the winter. I mean, just some scary stuff like, like a long descent and like a 90-degree turn at the bottom of it. And I'm like, it's just all kinds of bad stuff could happen if the conditions aren't right. Beautiful in the summertime. I mean, all the cornfields and stuff. But and I live far away, for the hurricanes really aren't an issue here. If I lived on the coast, that'd just be a nightmare. That'd be like, oh, what are you going to do this weekend? Oh, we're going to close everything up. We don't close up anything here. We bring in like any outside furniture we might have, but we're so far inland that it's got to be it's just never happened. It just never happened here. Two F here, getting battered by gales most of the country. Just get out a blowtorch, melt the snow, yeah. Yeah, the farm country. Yeah, the farm country. It's beautiful up there. Absolutely. I've only been in one place one time while it was snowing. I thought it's the coolest freaking thing. I've only seen snow a handful of times. Never on the East Coast. Never on the East Coast. I guess one of the things that surprises us, those of us that are not used to it, is we just assume that if it's below freezing, it's going to be snowing. And obviously, that's like saying that it's always raining, you know? So a lot of conditions have to be right or wrong, depending on how you want to look at it, for that to happen. What color pants does this clown have? Let's give him some blue pants. Let's give this guy some blue ass pants. So, you know, I've traveled up to that part of the country many times. Not many times, but several. And never got any snow on the East Coast, up the east side. I had to go to Utah, where I never saw it snow. Only been to Utah. No, I've been to Utah twice. It wasn't snowing. It was on the ground, but in Colorado a couple years ago. It's like, that's freaking magical. Now, I don't want to clean up all that stuff, but I got the drive in it, too. That wasn't too bad. I was worried about other people. I wasn't worried about me. I play drive-in games, and I'm good at them, so I got that down. Got to plan ahead. I'm going to turn up there in about half an hour, in about half a mile. Cool. Start slowing down now. You know? Particularly love the Dutch barns and Amish barns. Can't say that I've seen one of them. I probably have and just didn't know what they were. What I can't stand about Utah and Colorado is how freaking dry it is. It absolutely kills me. That whole, you got to drink 24 ounces of water every hour, you get a massive headache. No, it's beautiful, and it's like another planet for us. I'll go visit, but I can't live in that. My skin would just fall off. I do well in the moisture. You know, I don't like the humidity, okay? But it's good for me. You know, it's good for your skin. I don't have to, you know, I actually drink more liquids in the wintertime than in the summertime because you just get dehydrated in the wintertime and you don't even know it. But give me wet and cold, please. Thank you. And yeah, you feel it more, but we went to Colorado one time and it was like 18 degrees at night, right? Not a big deal. It gets 18 degrees here. Not often. Maybe only like once or twice a year. In late January or February. We had to sleep with the windows open. Because it was just to get some air circulation. There were no ceiling fans in this hotel. It was a nice place. It wasn't like it was a dump or anything. You know, it wasn't at a game convention. Had to sleep with the windows open just to get some air circulation. 18 degrees. 18 degrees in the West is not that cold. You know, it doesn't get to your bones. Wife took a picture of me. I was up at like 13,000 feet. At this resort where they had a Starbucks, having one of these. Black iced coffee. Of course, I had my parka on or everything. I wasn't even cold. And it was 22 or something like that. It's dry. It's not that big a deal. Makes my skin hurt, but if you've driven through to the conventions, you've seen Amish barns. They're usually red. The Dutch barns have designs on them, usually of flowers. Yeah, we have. That countryside is beautiful. Yeah. Got to do something about your road net, though, in Pennsylvania, though. It's like, Man, you can't, road won't go straight very long. It starts turning and goes around this and this old goat paths and go up this way and get on 222 and then you come over and then it stops and then you got to go over to get on 47 for a half a mile and then make a left and you're back on 220. It's like, holy mess, you know? I mean, I'm good with directions, but not used to hills, man. Not used to be able to not see what it is. You know, usually if we can't see where we're going, it's because there's freaking trees in the way, not a hill. We got trees everywhere here. Problem is the mountains and the hills in this state that make the roads difficult. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Way too many Yankees up there. You know, true test. You know how you find out if you're a Yankee? This is God's honest truth. I swear, this is how you find out if you're a Yankee. If somebody calls you one and you don't mind, you're a Yankee. I like stirring that pot, you know? I like stirring that pot. There was a guy a while ago, I remember he came in his truck. It was at work, and I'm go out to check his truck, and he's got these mud flaps. He's got these mud flaps with Yosemite Sam on them. He's got his mud flaps with Yosemite Sam, and he has his crossed revolvers, and out of each revolver, there's you know how they used to do on the cartoon, where there was like the little bang sign. Well, he had these two rebel flags, like a rebel flag out of each revolver, and there's Yosemite Sam on it. He must have had a Confederate uniform on him or something like that. So I walked up to the driver and I go, "Hey, driver!" I said, "Those mud flaps are kind of offensive." And he starts getting like he's going to tell me where to go. I said, "But not to me. My people weren't here yet." We were over in the old country taking a siesta. He starts laughing. None of that stuff bothers me. I've lived in the South my whole life, and yeah, there's racist people and stuff like that, but you know, I could see where that would bother some people. I get it. Doesn't bother me any. You know, I don't have one, you know. Not my people. Not my folks. We weren't here yet. Okay, let's paint his face. Let's give this guy a facial. Give this guy a personality. I'm a Mets fan. Svalek, welcome. Got some polls in the mail. They should be arriving next week. We'll do an unboxing on them. Have some of your people. Just got to know some Polish jokes. So when they misbehave, I can tell Polish jokes. Nah, those Polish jokes hadn't been invented yet. That's all from early 20th century people that came in New York and stuff like that. We got some Polish Cav figures coming. We got some fast blade guys. We got a commander for my Moldavians. And then we got something else that isn't too terribly exciting, but we're not going to talk about what it is. Like, well, if I got to order, because I wasn't happy with the commander I had for the Moldavians. That was really the whole thing. I could have dealt with everything else, but I just I wasn't going to make it. I just don't have a guy that looks like the Moldavian commander. He looked like a freaking Turk or something like that. I'm like, I don't want to do that to those people, you know? Did the Wallachians give the gun a name yet? No, we don't know how it's doing yet. Never thought about naming gun. Talk about naming things. It never occurred to me. I didn't know this was a thing. It never occurred to me that people give cars names, like their own personal vehicle. Like, you know, maybe if it had, you know, like machine gun, maybe it's like a Car Wars car, you know, like a Gaslands or something like that. Yeah, it would have a name, but just a regular car, like, it never occurred to me. Yeah. Even after hearing that people did that, I still didn't name my vehicle, you know? It's just not special enough. Maybe it was like a one-of-a-kind thing, or, you know. Turk Buster. We'll see how it does. We'll see how it does. One of my favorite units to paint is artillery. It's like a little mini diorama, you know? There's stuff going on there. It should be done this weekend. I don't see why the artillery piece wouldn't be done this weekend, so. You know, barring I don't have a heart attack or something like that. Could happen at any time. I guess, you know. No, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to get that done. I mean, I got to finish this guy in the commander. That's it. Spray him, and hell, might even be done tonight. Well, I mean, not the whole thing. I mean, I still have to spray him and stuff, so. Yeah, last time I sprayed, it was like 30 degrees. Now if I go spray now, it's like wet and 75 degrees. Just 1 week's difference. Stupid. I can't talk, though. Have you met my minivan, Cheryl? Don't call me Cheryl. Oh, your minivan's name is Cheryl. Can't talk, though. My Bronco's name is Billy. She's always gassy and slow as all hell. Oh, but she's thirsty. She's always thirsty. If I had to name my car, I'd call it Sabrina, because it's a Subaru. But it just never occurred to me to name the vehicle, you know. If it was like a game piece, or, you know, had weapons on it, or, you know, used it in a game. Yeah. Well, that's, you know, Gasland vehicles. That's the first thing, you know, people will do it. There is some really crafty people that do Gasland vehicles. And all the time on the Gaslands group, I would see people post these incredible vehicles. Help me think of a name. Dude, you name the thing before you build it. You build it around the name. But a regular, like, civilian vehicle that you pick up at a dealership, never occurred to me. Never occurred to me to it just never occurred to me. You know? These weapons to have a name. Oh, well. My daughter has a friend who has a Volkswagen Beetle. You know, the modern one, the one from the 2000s, the one that looks very like a bubble. And it's cream colored, almost an off-white color, similar to this. And she says, yeah, my car's named Bruce. I'm like, no, you just failed advertising. The color's not Bruce. It's not a Bruce-looking vehicle. You know, oh well, name whatever you want, but... Mehmed II for the canon name. Well, you can't name it after the general you're fighting. We'll see. Never occurred to me. Just the generic Uncle Artie. Somebody out there has an uncle named Artie, and they get that. I swear when you make the boom bah sound when you roll the dice, it rolls better. Maybe it's just, maybe it's just Eastern European superstition. I don't know. Sure seems like it. Sounds like a good story. Well, we should have a fair amount of painting the next week or so. The wife's gone for about a week. So I still got the daughter with me, and she has a ton of work, I think. So I do too, but fortunately I don't mind at work. So I should have a fair amount of time to paint. So we'll see what we can get accomplished. Not that my wife really keeps me from doing anything, but, it's, if I lived alone, I would get more painting done. I mean, that's the reality of it, unless I was crippled. But, that just kind of goes to show we should have a lot of painting videos and stuff for the next week or so, I would imagine. So if you're wondering what the hell happened, well, that's what the hell happened. So, that's what the hell happened. And my daughter's away on a trip. I got to pick her up really late. I want to say somewhere around, after 10. So that's why I'm getting coked up, caffeined up to stay awake, because normally I'm not worth a damn after about 9:30. So that's just not going to work. I got to go. It's not far where I got to go, but I do need to go pick her up. Actually, she drove there, but I want to escort her back. Not that she's going through a bad neighborhood, but, just stuff at night. Will be good to see Vlad getting his clothes on. Is he mounted or foot? He's mounted. He's mounted. Yeah. Well, I got to get a lot painted to get that done. I mean, I got to get another 5 figures painted, and then he's next. I don't want to work on him and not work on the fast horde. Although the artillery piece or the fast horde are my options. I can't use them both together. So, unfortunately. So saith the Book of Barker. So. We need to get something smaller than that. We need to do something smaller than that. All right, let's get in here. Oh, look, another guy with a mustache. What is it with this? Like, you're shaving anyways. Either you shave or you don't shave. Well, kind of. What? This guy's looking a little bit like the Phantom of the Opera from that angle. And fix that, blend that a little bit better. Should name the cannon the Shaver. I should go back and name my other cannons that none of them have names either. close shaver. Whoops. I don't know if Mitch is ever going to like artillery. I just think it's just another tool you can use in your thing. So the more different tools you have, the better off you are. You got more things that are useful in certain situations. And artillery are always cute. I prefer artillery to elephants. And they both are, they both have a cute factor when you're building them. But, artillery can be doing its job perfectly and not have to spend 2 pips. Generally, the elephant, to do what it needs to do, you got to spend 2 pips to move them. Unless you're already engaged in combat and just continuing to bowl for people. Generally, you're going to have to move the elephant into combat. But the artillery is perfectly fine. As long as you've got targets in front of you, it could just be blasting away, and you never have to move it. So, food for thought. This guy looks like he's got a little fez where we're not going there because, you'd be batting for the other team then. Not that I mind painting little fezzes, but... Alright, this guy is going to have... what color? Let's make his hat gray since he doesn't have any gray on him. And let's use a fairly light gray. And let's not be lazy and mix white and black. Let's use a color that's already pre-mixed gray. Are the Saxons a faction in that era? Uh-oh. How young is too young for a child to have a smartphone? My daughter was 10 when she had her first phone device, and it was the iPod, whatever it's called. It's like the iPod, the little phone that doesn't have phone function that big. How old is too old for your grandparents to have a smartphone? I'm tired of Grandpa spamming my DMs with links to his Wordle scores. Oh, well. He won't be around for long. You don't have to worry about it, Rick. Oh, no, I went there. I have no idea. I've never had a grandfather with a cell phone. Actually, I've never met a grandfather. Both of my grandfathers never saw Castro take over their island. Maybe that's a good thing. So they both died in the 50s. Never met either one of them. Both of my grandmothers, neither one ever drove. It just wasn't a thing they did. One of them was born in 1899, so I had an older dad with older parents, so I'm the wrong person to ask about that. Yeah, none of my grandmothers ever drove, or got remarried. So they, they lived. One of them lived almost 40, outlived her husband by 40 years. And the other one, I guess, about that long too, yeah. They never had a cell phone. Hell, neither one of them could speak English. Speaking of not speaking English, Lily Andrew. Why? I need to delete this crap. I need to get my other screen so I can do it. Good thing they're not sending me. They're not putting porn links on there. That's not cool. That's actually happened before. And or something that looks like porn links. Let's put it that way. Let's try to details. No, that's not where I'm doing it. Let's go to. Let me click on that and see what I get. No, video link. Let me click on that. Just give me 1 second. Skip ads. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's flush this one. Oh, there's an option to put user in timeout. Nice. Does it come with a dunce cap? Unwanted commercial content or spam. Report? Get the hell out of here. Lily likes ketchup and medium beverages. Oh, screw ketchup. I'll take medium. I'll take small beverage. I'll take no beverages over ketchup. God, I hate that stuff. Let's flush this Nielsen Franklin report. What do they get? Like a 1/12 of a cent for promoting some BS thing? Don't put me in timeout. No, I'm not going to put you in timeout. Just got to start misbehaving and put you in timeout. You know how to behave. You have your own channel. I never understand why. I mean, I do understand, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm nicer on the internet than in person. And what I mean by that is, let me change screens here. If I'm nasty on the internet, the next thing I got to do is I got to defend myself. And, you know, I'm not interested in becoming even practicing law. You know, I don't need to do stuff. So it's like, you know, if I see something I don't like on the internet or Facebook or whatever, I just look the other way, you know. And you know, I don't go and, you know, poop on somebody else's page. You know, if they want to put something controversial on the page. Now, there is something I've started doing it, and, you know, there's some people I generally like. I'll get a friend request from people, and it's not people. You know, people I have on Facebook are really hobby related folks. They're not really friends per se, and so I got a friend request from somebody the other day who's a friend, and I'll look and, oh, they're friends with these people. Okay, that's cool. And then I go and check out their page, and all they have on their page is controversial political stuff. I'm like, so if I friend this person, all I'm going to do is be bombarded with these links of controversial political shit, which I have no interest in seeing, because you're not going to convert me, and I don't really need the, you know, that argument and stuff like that, of all that stuff on there. So what's the point in friending somebody and then hiding them? So it's like, you know, change your attitude, pal, and then maybe we can be friends on Facebook. Unless you send me to my room with all the toys are. I never got sent to my room as a kid. I'd love to have gotten sent to my room. That's where all my toys are. Crying will get you nowhere. I used to have to write sentences. Man, I hated that shit. Can you just beat me and get it over with? Sentences. No. I didn't like growing up. I'm having a hell of a lot more fun as an adult than as a kid. Not that I necessarily had a bad childhood, but I like being an adult more. All right. Oh, that's a little too light to start off with. Yeah, in real life, you could be nasty to somebody and just walk away from them and never have to see them again. On the internet, you got to like defend yourself, and what about this, and they won't leave you alone, and geez, man, just easier, just go the other way. That's what I do in my own personal life. I see something I don't like, I go the other way. I'm like, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to be converted. I don't want to convert people. You be whoever you want to be. If I don't like you, then, you know, I won't interact with you. There's too many like lawyers in training on the internet. Way too many lawyers in training. Just what we need, more lawyers. arguing about stuff. And geez, man, life's too short, man. Let's find out what we have in common, not what makes us different. My dad's mother would make me write out times tables over and over again when I was a kid when I got in trouble. Yeah, same. I had a great childhood, but man, it's fun being an adult. Yeah, well, you live alone. I'm not saying mine's not fun, but I lived alone for 10 years. It was fun. The youngest I would want ever to be is 25. Would not want to be younger than that. I don't want to be a kid now. They're all lawyers in training or trolls in training. Yeah, or both. That's a tough one. I would give almost anything to be 16 again, but only for like a year. I swear people get their jollies off of just posting crap to anger others. You know, I don't understand, like, the people that create, like, computer viruses. Like, I don't go and, like, do destructive stuff to people that don't deserve it. Not that I do destructive things to people that do deserve it, but, you know, you could at least, you know, justify it somehow. Well, you make a computer virus, you don't even have, like, you know, a little, like, maybe that's your jolly. Just at least have, like, a little video camera where, you know, when everything gets erased, you know, you can see their face go, or you know, something, but you don't even know if it's working. You know, it's like, those people just need to, if you're doing that, you need to just go get a job, dude, you know? Just get a job. Do something good for humanity. Stop being a turd. Yeah, I don't advocate doing violent things to other people. I'll give you an example. My wife was telling me there's some controversial restaurant that's being put in Miami. That's where my wife has family in Miami. Called, I could get the name of it wrong, but Cafe Havana or something like that. Anyways, so, you know, no big deal, right? It makes sense that's where you would have it. It's a Cuban restaurant or whatever. Well, it's a Cuban restaurant from San Francisco, supposedly. And they have all this Che Guevara, Castro stuff on it. And, like, people are, like, massively boycotting all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, that's probably the wrong place to put the restaurant. Now, I don't advocate vandalizing anything. But if you're going to vandalize a place, might as well be a place that has a bunch of communist propaganda on it. I'm just saying, you know. But I don't advocate disrespecting people's stuff, stealing it, destroying other people's things that they work hard for. But if you were going to, that might not be that bad a candidate right there. Yeah, I don't think having Che Guevara and a bunch of things in Miami is gonna do really well. Just to guess. Oh, man. They say a fool is born every second, while I say an a-hole is born every second. Yep. Everybody's got an asshole, and some people have two. One on their shoulders. Yeah, the internet is great, but the internet also gives everybody a voice. And I don't mean that by wanting to shut people up, but if you're up to no good, if your whole purpose in life is get your jollies, as you guys said, get your jollies by ruining civilization, so to speak, then you don't deserve a voice in my book. I'm sorry, you don't. You're up to no good, you know, but unfortunately, you know, the internet gives everybody a voice. I'm not talking about political leanings. I'm talking about people that are like, you know, people that like want to do inappropriate things to children. You know, the internet gives them a way to communicate with each other. I mean, that's just freaking wrong, you know? So, there's a price to pay for freedom, you know? So, I heard somebody post one time, the thing is now you could say all kinds of stuff on the internet and never have any repercussions. When you did it when you were in school, you get your ass beat and then you wouldn't do it. Well, it depends who's beating your ass, because, there's still those bully things, So, don't be messing with kids, folks. Yeah, none of my viewers are to that. It's hard to believe anybody's into that, but... You couldn't find any Transylvanian Saxon faction in the good book, but Vlad kicked the Jesus out of them. I think they were just vendors. You remember, Saxons are, a province of Germany. So, yeah, I forget exactly what the story is. Yeah, he wasn't friendly to him. I don't know whether they were extorting everybody, or I don't know. I read that vaguely. I have a Dracula novel, and I don't remember what it's called. I got it on Audible, and was disappointing. It was, it was kind of like the Rome miniseries. Like, there's very few things that are really known about him, and they connect the dots and add in conversations that he's having with his wife, and, all this kind of stuff that, is colorful, but, ultimately just made up. Anyhow, but I did read that about a year and a half ago, but honestly didn't think it was worth recommending to anybody. A few Audible things have been really good. A couple of Audible things have just been like, yeah, don't waste your time, folks. That's probably not what you want to do. Or I wasn't impressed by it, I tried reading a biography on Belisarius, but again, it's like a made up conversation and all this kind of stuff, and it just kept droning on and on and on, and because that army's on my to-do list. Byzantines. Maybe I'll get bored and I'll pull out my Byzantines and sort them into an army. I don't know. I like doing stuff like that. Call me crazy. Wasn't as many Vlad. What? There wasn't many Vlad was friendly to. No. Yeah, I wouldn't want him as my ruler. He's kind of a dickhead. But most rulers are. Kind of goes without saying. All right, let's give this guy... Let's give this guy a lighter colored belt something. It almost doesn't even look like a belt. It looks like a sash that's been wrapped around. Let's use a lighter color on that. And let's do something that's a little yellow. Okay? Let's do something that's a little yellow. And let's start off with this pretty little thing. Well, that's not the one. That's not the one I thought it was. False start. This one. Here we go. Golden yellow. Another misnamed color. Ah, a watery bitch. I know there's a mixing ball in there somewhere. It's one of those, I put another one in there, I'm going to create a massive mess. We don't need a whole lot on there because we're going to start with brown. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to use the same English brown because I want some different hues in there. So we're going to use this brown with this yellow. Come on, a little bit more. All right, now I'm going to paint this and this. In this situation, I don't mind that it doesn't cover so well because it's not going to cover well in areas that I'm not going to coat it again, and those are going to be the lower areas. It is pitch freaking black out there. And it's only 7 o'clock. That's what I dislike the most about this time of year. It's just exhausting. Let's add a little bit more white. And bring some of these folds out. All right. We have a bucket, and we have some boots. And this clown's done. Oh, and we have his world famous mustache. The army of mustaches. There's a few of those. My Indians have a ton of those. Have a ton of mustaches. Boots, we're going to give him brown boots. I don't want to give him black boots. It's going to look a little too much like a commissar from World War II. Red stripe on his pants too, you know. You have to take off. See you back rolling in an hour or so. I hope so. I think his dad was knighted off the Hungarians. Interesting story. He and his brother sent as hostages the Ottomans so that Wallachia wouldn't oppose them. Yep. Yeah, the story says that his brother ended up being... what's the correct word for this? He ended up being the lover of the Sultan. Now I don't know whether it's true or not, but in the story it kind of was that way. And yeah. I think that would have been frowned upon by the... Well, you never know what happens behind closed doors at any of those places, but... Radu, right? His son Radu. His brother Radu. Yeah, he was the boyfriend of the Sultan, in the story anyways. And I think I looked in a Wikipedia, and I'm not sure if that was confirmed, it was alluded to, or something like that, but the author just kind of took that off and ran with it. It kind of works in the story, you know. The story isn't great, the narrator isn't great. It wasn't horrible, but there's better things out there. All right, well, we're not starting with this brown. Let's darken this up, because I don't want it to get much brighter than that. Putting his harem. Yeah, maybe. I have a feeling that these guys in the Turks are going to have some cool battles. I really like playing my Turks, but those poor guys just... They have an uphill battle. Now, hopefully these guys are light enough that... They got 3 light horse, so they can't throw a massive forest of unusual size on everything. And they're going to have some... They're going to have some bad going, because they've got a fair amount of bad going troops, but... I think it might end up being okay. All right, this is a bucket, so let's get our wood color. I think I want to use, I don't want to use any of these. I want to use this one. A little bit lighter. Radu might have been that way inclined for the Sultan to put him with the women. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. Usually only people that were put in with women didn't have any, a full set of male parts, if you know what I'm saying. Which, considering, I was reading something, or I came across it one time, that was like a big thing in like the Chinese, in the Chinese court. Like, you tried to either go and become one of the ministers or a scribe or something like that, and if you didn't make it as that, try to be a eunuch. And supposedly, what I was reading, your survival rate was about 50%. Because 50% of the time that you got that part taken away from you, you'd either die from infection or blood loss or all kinds of bad things. So that's a hell of a... Forget losing your stuff. You may not survive. So... And they had harems too. So it's a harem thing. You're expecting 20,000 impaled miniatures on stakes, no less for the camp. Well, you're going to be sadly disappointed. I'll try to do 20. I don't know if I can get that high, but at least 10. I can't spend too much time on the camp. We got to spend it on the next army. How many guys do I have in here? I bet I have 20. Nope. That's a bunch of benches. That's the Pope's benches. Like Bob Dole's chair. That's the Pope's benches. The old skit from Saturday Night Live. That's Bob Dole's chair. It was old Norm that would do that skit. All right, how many of these guys do we have? One, I don't know if I have 20. 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 it is. 14 it is. Yeah. I was thinking about this, how I was going to do this today, so I'm not going to, no spoilers. But I think I know how I'm going to do that. That's like a weekend project in and of itself. No spoilers. But I'm glad that the reason I got these figures is they are impaled the correct way, which is anally, not through the midsection, Actually, it talks about that in the Dracula book, Thank you. You'll settle for 10. I'll try to do all 14. Yeah, it talks about that in the book. Not in a pornographic way, but just like, you already have a natural... I think what it talked about is the whole point was you wanted it to come out, go in through, between his legs and come out of his mouth, but it never quite worked out that way. Everything's got to be lined up a certain way. So, and you can see by the miniatures, that's also that way. So maybe the person who designed them also read the book. We're going to avoid this metal band. I don't know if this is a metal band, but it will be on this figure, holding this bucket together. We're going to go ahead and avoid it because we'd want to paint that metal band black and then highlight it with the metallic color anyways. So if I paint over it, I'm just going to have to paint over it again. So just save yourself the trouble and be careful. I was reading something. The worst forms of torture you could have on somebody. What are some of the worst forms? And they had all kinds of really ingenious stuff to do, Lay them down, greased the butt, and when they raised them up slowly, slid down, painfully slow death. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how they did it, but there's got to be a technique, because you can't use a pole that's too wide, or it's not going to slide very far in there, right? And you don't want to use one that's not too narrow; it'll break off, and you can't put them up like signposts. So again, I haven't really read a whole lot into it, but there's some people that, as your conqueror, you could be a lot worse off than them. And what I'm saying is people like, not that I want to be conquered by anybody. Let's see here. Sure, it was his own people that were the sea of spikes that the Ottomans came across. Yeah. Well, he did a little bit of both, but he wasn't afraid of putting his own people up there. Yeah, it wasn't like, we only stabbed Turks. He wasn't afraid to send a message. But as far as being conquered, I'd have to read more into it. It doesn't seem that if the Turks took you over, it would be that bad a thing. I'm not saying I want to be taken over by Turks, but same thing with the Persians. The Persians were, tolerant for conquerors, as opposed to, somebody that came in and freaking wanted to murder everybody. The Turks weren't opposed to using troops of other nations and stuff like that. So maybe it was one of those things, kind of like the Mongols, that if you surrender to the Mongols, it'd be a pain in the ass because you'd end up being serving the Mongols. But at least they wouldn't freaking murder every single human child that was that stood up against them. Because you didn't want to cross the Mongols, that's for damn sure. But, there's worse overlords, I think, than the Turks. I think. I don't really read into that political stuff and stuff like that, but the Persians were pretty tolerant. I mean, you're going to have to do what they do. It's not like you can continue with your own Greek way of life, but Mehmed said, "Sod that. We can't fight this," and turned his army around and went home. When I think of Vlad's own folks done him, then I think Vlad's own folk done him in. Yeah. Yep. I always thought the Turks were a really interesting enemy. Especially in the Renaissance time period. All right, let's get in here. Just don't think they're represented real well in DBA, but it is what it is. It's what we have. Ooh, this bucket's looking cute. What's in the bucket? Stick your head in it and find out. Yeah, I think the Turks, for instance, are a hell of a lot nicer than the Mongols. I don't think much of the Mongols. Screw those guys. Want to burn everything down. I should build a Mongol army just so I can complain about them all the time. I'm glad they lost because people suck. Regardless of how good of fighters they were. Yep. Mehmed. Yeah, what you didn't want to be is you didn't want to be one of the sons of the Sultan, because that's where the problem came. Those guys were really brutal. Like, you have multiple sons, and like the head guy dies, and then they end up fighting and killing each other and murdering each other just so, they don't have any rivals. That was endemic. But that came from the Persians, too. The Persians weakened themselves quite a bit because of that, If you have one son, simple, he gets everything. If you have multiple sons, now you got a problem, right? Why did I switch to the big brush? Because I'm an idiot. You idiot. And then what I put down here is too wet. Flip this guy over so they don't, without scuffing his boots. I won't have to repaint that. Scuffing it with my finger. I think he's done. Oh, buttons. We use this color. Okay, he's done. I can't even see if I can see. Let's see. It's probably in crappy focus. You guys will get good pictures of him when I'm done with him. Just kind of blah in the video. Roman Catholic Church wouldn't tolerate Islam. I think that was the score. Charlemagne had beat them off in the West. Seen a couple of movies about Turks filmed in Turkey. Definite propaganda. Yeah, well, my ancestors fought them, so, I can't really take the Turk side. Sorry. Not that my ancestors were always good guys, but they're still my ancestors, damn it. I don't want to turn my back on my own people. I might find a freaking stake up my ass, you know what I'm saying? And I won't get to choose the girth. This guy, I kind of like this brown. Let's give this guy an even darker coat. Let's do that. Okay, he's the offizier. Let's give the offizier a darker coat. Plans changed. I'm back. Yes. I'm glad everything went sideways for you. Welcome back. Welcome back to the disappointment. Last crewman. Do I have any interest in gaming the Spanish Reconquista? You bet. That was my first 2 armies. I do. Feudal Spanish and the Berbers. Yep. As a matter of fact, when Saga came out, if it had been based on the Reconquista first, I might have actually gotten into it. I know that eventually they added the Reconquista and stuff, those forces, but it started off with Dark Ages England, which bore me. I'm not English, and I don't really care for, just that stuff bores me, But I know they eventually added the Reconquista stuff, but and I played a couple of Reconquista games, and yeah, I can get into that shit. Absolutely, I think it's really cool. I need to water this down, and I'll be right back. I enjoy these streams, so no disappointment. Yeah, I know. It's just because it's a change of plans, that's all. I'll be right back. I'm not even going to put it on mute. So the first army I built was Book 335B, which is a feudal Spanish, around 1100s, late 1000s, 1100 time period. That's kind of what I based it out. So it looked very Normanish. Yes, the Russians are back. Nope, that's not the screen I need to go to. This is the screen I need to go to. And report, you dirty spammer, you report. They're not even listening. They just come in here and just throw their herpes on us and leave. There's two of them. A double team. Well, you go in the trash bin too. Of course, they just change their name and come into somebody else. Tony steps away and the Russians invade. Well, I called them, I don't know if they're Russians. I called them that because a couple of their names look like they're running in Cyrillic. So, that's all. Found the history of Andalusia to be intriguing. I would love to get into that period for wargaming. Sneaky buggers. No herpes! Yeah, like, it could be a lot worse. They're just distracting. They could be posting, links to underage porn and stuff like that. We don't want that. We don't want that on this channel. If you want to, no, we don't want that at all. So, all right. What do we got here? This guy's got a brown coat. It's got two light ones and a dark one. So let's just do another dark one. Hey, if I don't like it, I'll change it. Sometimes you just got to stop with the analysis paralysis and just jump in and start and just paint your way out. And I'm probably going to lighten this quite a bit with white, so it may end up looking grayer than at first maybe initially looks like. But that's why if you've seen any of my videos that aren't live, I edit all my comments, because otherwise I got to chase roaches in the morning. I'll wake up, I'll post a video, and then I come in the morning and it's like, what the hell? I got to chase down all these, bad links and, it's out promoting stuff that I'm not really interested in promoting, you know. So, but anyways, what I was getting ready to before the Russians invaded, what I was getting ready to say is that I have I built the book 335 Spanish B, the B list, feudal Spanish, and I have a C list to do. I have like different knights and stuff to do around the 1200s period, and they're nice figures. They're discontinued figures by this French sculptor named Alain Toulaire, who passed away, I think, 5 or 6 years ago. So they're no longer available anymore. And I've got some links of some really good heraldry, and I'm gonna work my own family into one of the guys. There's a codex that happens to have one of the guys, a branch of supposedly my family somewhere in there. So we'll have to work him in there so he can let me down every time in the freaking game, you know. No, but there's some good information on the heraldry of that period. So, and probably at that point, if I ever get around to doing that, I'll probably convert my Fanatic Berber and add a few more elements to them, because they're based on the book the 2.2 book, and now they're actually a lot more interesting. They've got a couple more elements and stuff like that. But that's a refurb. I'd want to rebase all the figures, because the basing technique that I used before, other than it not being as good, is also I can't duplicate it anymore. So that was even before I was using the Liquitech stuff. So I don't want a stand that looks different. Now, the one thing I'm going to do a little bit different is the basing that I did for this army, for these Wallachians and the Moldavians, is unique in that I used some moss on here, and I used a couple different tufts also. Let me see if I put them down here without them moving around. Maybe a skirmisher here so you can see. And, of course, the rocks. With the 3 colors that we normally use for most temperate climate. But with the Polish allies, I do not think I'm going to use the same tufts. I'm going to use brighter tufts for them. So they're going to look the same, but a little bit differently. So they're actually going to stand out. It'll be easier to tell who the Poles are. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I've got other tufts that are a little bit brighter. I definitely wanted the Wallachians to look subdued and maybe not sinister, but just like it's not a happy place, you know, kind of scorched earthish to a degree, not vibrant. So I think I'm going to do the Poles. That's how I'm going to do them differently. So when you have the Polish stands, you're going to have 3 stands. If you use them as allies, they'll be able to tell them apart from each other. They're not going to be bright green, but you'll still be able to tell them. So. You think Khorasan makes some really nice figures for that era. Yeah, Khorasan's, they showed up too late. They showed up 15 years later than they should have, or I would have some of their figures. I've never painted any of their figures. They just showed up I have too much lead. I like their figures. Some of their horses, I think, like the medieval horses, are a little on the big side. They tend to be a little bit like stretch limos. So, not to have a problem with painting things that are odd like that. Just a comment. That's the only reason I don't have their stuff. They just showed up on the scene too late. I'd already been doing this for 12 or 14 years or something like that, and I've just collected too much lead. I'd rather use this as a base for the stuff I'm doing, instead of just like, oh, Khorasan's got new figures, get rid of these old ones and use the new ones. I don't want to get into that. I'm perfectly happy with these old school figures, and they paint up just fine. It's the same reason I don't have any, well, not the same reason, but I also don't have any Legio Heroica, which from the pictures of them online are some of the best figures out there. But their postage is just, well, they showed up on the scene, and the postage is just exorbitant. It's exorbitant to get things from Italy in the States. UK is just fine. It's a little bit more in the States. Okay, whoop-de, you know. But Italy is just really, really expensive. They showed up at a perfect time for me. Really do need to get some of their miniatures to give them a try. You know what showed up at a good time for me? The guys I like. I know it doesn't really narrow it down. Roundway. Because Roundway aren't available anymore. Or at least the guy who was the purveyor of what Roundway, I think he just fell dormant, or hope he didn't die or something like that. Hope he's okay. I know he was having health issues. Not COVID-related health issues, but I don't exactly know what it is. I don't want to speak for what it was, but he was having health problems. And something that involved his mobility. So, you know, whether it was arthritis or something like that, but just being able to crank the stuff out. So I haven't heard from him in a long time. I want to paint some Bacchus 6mm, but 30% of your total order with no limit to that fee just makes it not appealing. Yeah. I just don't think 6mm has enough pose variation for me. And they all look the same. Well, not to me. I mean, I can get in there and tell the difference. I thought about doing Renaissance in that scale, but that, and I wouldn't want to get the goop in between all the legs. That's a pain in the ass. That's a real pain in the ass. But if you did 6mm and based them on this size stands, I think it would work. If you based Light Horse and there's 6mm Light Horse on here, and yeah, you don't put two figures, you put, I don't know, 12, 8, something like that. So they could be like in a little formation, throwing these things, and that'd be cool. But I don't want 12 figures that are exactly the same figure, you know. And for the most part, that's what you would get. All right, this guy, let's flesh him out. Let's give this guy a facial. We use this brush for the base color of the facial. When we're done with this guy, we'll take a break. Because then it's like, I got to go spray him and stuff. And that's the natural time to take a break. Instead of like rolling right into the next figures. We can roll into the next figures in the morning. Guy looks like a bit like a pirate. Oh shit. Hold on one second. Let me check on something. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get away with doing this. How do I do this? Let's try this. And shit. There. All right, we got rid of that screen because I need to check something on my phone. Let me see if I don't screw this up. I've never done this. Oh, I did the wrong one. Durr. Told you I was a noob at this. All right, let's do this. We want that one. We don't want that one. There you go. Oh, look, we get Ostrogoths there in the background. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know they were there. All right, now let me check something. Oh, man. Okay, okay. 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 All right. I think we can get back to how we were here. So the problem with using your phone as a filming device is when you have your family traveling. Now let's see if I can not botch this up. Hey, look at that. Oh, what do we got here? Thought about Napoleonics, that skill, just because I think static pose works for that period. I'd agree with you. Austria stands alone. Book for 1998. Let it get back. That look great. Austria stands alone. That's what I would start painting, Austrians. We played this campaign. We played this board game called Napoleon in Europe a few years ago. We were picking sides. I volunteered to be the Austrians. You know, I have Habsburg sympathies. Well, and I just decided to take them, and they wiped the floor with everybody that came at them. It was just luck of the dice, and ever since then I'm like, yep, I like my Austrians. Don't mess with the Austrians. They're gonna whoop your ass. And it was just total dice rolls. So you played a game, and I got backstabbed by everybody, and it was fun. And I like those Austrian troops with the German helmets. I think that's what they're called. They've got those. They look like helmets, and I think they look pretty cool. So. All right, let's get this here. So if we spray these guys tonight, the spray's probably going to be dry enough to be able to hand paint with the flat tonight. It's going to be a strong. I don't know if I'm going to be able to bait. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put them on the stand yet, and goop. I may have to goop in the morning, which means we'll start working on a fast horde in the morning. I want to get to the main dude. I want to get to the main dude because he's got heraldry and shit. And that's really what I enjoy doing. Okay, this guy has a collar. And I'm not sure what color it's going to be, but we're going to make it white. I don't know what color his collar is, but it's going to be white, damn it. Let's use brown. Let's not use black. Let's not make it grayish. Because odds are his beard is going to be grayish. This guy looks like he could be a grizzled veteran. So if my favorite sculptor had done figures for Old Glory for the 7 Years' War period, I could see have painted some 7 Years' War stuff for Maurice. I could see that having happened. And I'd probably do Austrians, Russians, and Prussians, probably. Maybe with some French. But that didn't happen, so I wasn't tempted by any of his any of the figures. I definitely have a soft spot for his work. Tony doesn't want to try to put a Viking in timeout. I don't know where you're going with a timeout, Rick. If both of us are in timeout, we can hook up a Nintendo 64 and play Mario Kart. Why would you play a video game that's not violent? Are you like a violent person every day? I play violent video games. I never liked Nintendo stuff. Never did. I always thought it was funny, you know. The country that did Kamikaze Pilots created games that are non-violent. I never cared for Nintendo stuff. Sega, yes. Talking about old systems, you know. Yeah, I never cared for Nintendo stuff. The Nintendo 64 at least had an interesting controller. So, almost like a pistol type controller, if I remember correctly. I remember what everybody was playing. What was that? GoldenEye. First person shooter. I think one of the few Bond movies I haven't seen, and I don't know why I haven't seen it. I think that I haven't seen GoldenEye. I haven't seen one of the Dalton ones. Yeah, I've seen the one with Robert Davi. I guess that would be. I guess I haven't seen Living Daylights. I haven't seen Living Daylights. I haven't seen GoldenEye, and I haven't seen Quantum of Solace, and I haven't seen the new one. See how we turn that around? All of a sudden we're talking about Bond movies. Speaking of which, I think my brother's coming over next weekend, tomorrow, and we're going to do a Bond marathon starting at the beginning, so go through those. I don't own them. We'll just rent them or whatever. I think some of them are available free right now, but I'd like to watch them over. I wanted to have my daughter watch it too, but she's got so much homework I don't think she's really interested in. And honestly, the first movie is so freaking boring. If I remember correctly, Dr. No is so freaking boring. If I remember correctly, still going to watch it though, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. GoldenEye. I haven't seen that one. Everybody says that's a really good movie, but I just... Should happen. I never got a chance to see that one, so... Game's got really good music, if I remember correctly. That came out in the time period where the only first-person shooters were... Let's see. We had Wolfenstein. We had... Doom was probably out. Wolfenstein, Doom, and Duke Nukem may have been out by then, and then GoldenEye. So yeah, the graphics looked dated, but so did everything else back then. So yeah. Oh, I know what Nintendo game I liked. They had the Romance of the Three Kingdoms stuff, which was like almost like a counterboard game. They had one. A buddy of mine had that. That was my first foray into Romance of the Three Kingdoms stuff, and Sao and Company. So you played that a bit. Yeah, some of those movies, some of those Bond movies, I've only seen once, so a lot of the stuff might be new to me, so to speak. So, looking forward to that. Having some scotch and watching some Bond movies. Bond movies that don't age well. Oh well. You haven't played GoldenEye in 20 years. See, what was 20 years ago? 2002. What haven't I played since 2002? Diablo 2? What else? Freaking love those Diablo games, man. I haven't played a third one in a while, but man, I played. Those are the only games. Okay, so most games, you know, they'll have multiple characters. Most people will play one. They find the character they like and they play all the way through. Oh no, not the Diablo games. I played every single one of the characters all the way through the difficulty levels and finished the game. And so, you know, I don't play a lot of video games, but I have. I've devoted a good chunk of my life to playing video games. And man, I love those freaking Diablo games. Even the first one where you couldn't even run, you know, you just were. I mean, you couldn't. I wouldn't play it now. I'm not a fan of retro stuff. You know, just like what's that game that came out? Well, I'm too old for this shit, but you know, Minecraft. You know, Minecraft games that look like that. We had to put up with them looking that way because that's all we had. Like, I'm not going back and playing retro graphic stuff. You know, they don't need to be 3D and everything, but you know, I already have blurry vision. You know, with being nearsighted, so I'm not a big fan of that stuff. Of blurifying my vision anymore. This guy, I feel like this guy needs. Let's just hold off. Let's do his hair first, and then we can decide what we're gonna do. And this guy is, of course, gonna have a black beard, but he's been around the block, and we need more black because it's already done dried out. You're banned from using proximity mines in that game. In GoldenEye? There was proximity mines in GoldenEye? See, when it came out, was Counter-Strike out yet? No, Counter-Strike wasn't out yet. That was pre-Counter-Strike. So that was my first foray in picking up an AK in a game. I remember it being real loud, as it should be. Yeah, it was a fun game. Killing people in the bathroom. Of course, it was split screen, so you could see what other people were doing. The earliest games I would be tempted to play, the earliest operating system type thing I would be tempted to play would be the old original Xbox stuff. Because there was still some good stuff back then. Now, you know, it's very dated by the time now, but there was this game that came out about 20 years ago called Midtown Madness. And it came out, we had a Gateway computer store at the time. I had just bought a Gateway. This is kicking it like it's 1999. And there was this game, it was a driving game, and where you used real vehicles, you know, vehicles you could go out and buy, like a Mustang and stuff like that. And it was a racing game where you just was open world. You know, very basic by today's standards, but you know, it was based in Chicago, I think. So there was a stylized downtown Chicago you could run around in. And, you know, they had Other than races, they had like a capture the flag type of thing. You know, you'd get this, like there'd be like this gold stash you would get, and when you carried it, it would slow down your vehicle, and you had to get it from point A to point B. But there wasn't a track, so you could make a turn in the middle of the road. We played the living hell out of that game. It was on computer, and I also had it on the original Xbox. Played all those. My brother was a big fan of those games. Midtown Madness. Yeah. Some of those old Xbox games are pretty cool. Always like, what was that one that was the training one called? Full Spectrum Warrior. Full Spectrum Warrior. Yeah, well, you had like your squad or your half squad of U.S. troops in like an Iraq type of situation, but it was, I think they call it Tajikistan. I think some made up a stand place, and some of the soldiers would go and they would say funny things when things happen. That's the first time I heard somebody call this one soldier like calling everybody a penis wrinkle. It was hilarious at the time. Now I'd be like, okay, that's it, you know. But hey, you know, when you hear something funny, the next thing has to be funnier, or it's not as funny. But Full Spectrum Warrior, and there was a gladiator game. There was a gladiator game called, was it Gladius? I think it was Gladius. So it was like a gladiator arena game, but it had fantasy elements. And you could build your crew and go out and battle, and it was turn-based. So you could, you know, you don't know who was going to go next, and maybe you had like a javelin guy, and you could choose where you moved, and then he would throw his javelin, do a certain amount of damage, and you could play it so that you had to time the things in the bar. It was a really cool game. I still have it, and it's kind of unique for its time. I don't know any other game that was like that, where you're building a fantasy, you know, gladiator type thing, you know, and that was a freaking cool game. My friends banned me from using them. Yeah. Proximity Mine. Gladius is a freaking cool game. I don't know if they made that for computer or not. But I never had a PlayStation. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was going to get either a PlayStation or an Xbox. So I rented them both from Blockbuster. You could do that. And after I did a scientific trial, I decided that I liked the Xbox controller better and the games better. So that's what I went with, and I've never had a PlayStation. Not that I have any problem with Sony products. As a matter of fact, I was really loyal to Sony things, just not that. So, although Sony has this thing with like I don't know if they still do it. They'd make their cameras and like, well, we have special memory cards that only work on our cameras, and just proprietary shit like that makes it really a pain in the ass sometimes to use some of their products. I don't know if they do that. All my TVs were always Sonys. I've kind of just given up on them now, but I was loyal to them for a while. I think it was just one specialized memory card too far. But never had a PlayStation, never had a Nintendo. Buddy of mine had a Sega Genesis. I wanted one of those. Yeah. Didn't have the money, moved out, you know. Didn't have money for a Sega Genesis. Had some Madden leagues and hockey leagues and stuff like that we'd play in. Good times. Gladiator game. It's called Gladius. It was a good game. Yeah. I still have the manual for it here somewhere. Hold on, I'll be right back. No, that's not where I thought it was. It's not where I thought it was. I have one of those, guides or whatever to it. It's a beautiful game. I know I didn't get rid of it, the guide. I still have the old Xbox somewhere. Of course, that's the oldest Xbox. The 360 is the old Xbox. Don't play that one anymore. The one is really nice because you don't have to worry about saving the game. Like, oh, I got to get to a save point. You just turn the thing off, and it picks up right where you left off. Would love to have an original Nintendo system. The games were a lot of fun for that system. Been playing my PS2 a lot lately. My favorite console of all time. Dynasty Warriors, Burnout 3, of course, being backwards compatible PS1 was just perfection. Yeah. I played a lot of the Dynasty Warriors, but on the Xbox. The Dynasty Warriors had great freaking music. I love that music from Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors too. The Samurai Warriors was like techno stuff, and the Dynasty Warriors. I never got the Dynasty. There was like a live. It was like an MMORPG Dynasty Warriors that came out like 3 or 4 years ago, and I never got it. But you could like travel across China and stuff like that, and I played those games a lot. I think the first one I played was 3. I have 3, 4, and 5, and I may have like 7 or something. I don't know. I can't. I might have one of the Empires, or they get a little repetitive. But I like the lore. I like the characters. I like some of the characters. Some of the other characters are just assholes. I mean, nobody's walking around saying, "Oh, I love playing Don Juan." I mean, nobody likes playing that weenus. Have the original Xbox, but I'm leery about getting the games I want to play again for it. Well, if you find them, they can be really cheap, but Gladius is a great freaking game. It's turn-based, so you're not rushed, And what was cool is, there was a skill in doing some of the actions. It's not like let me press a button and it's random what happens. There's a little bit of skill. It wasn't too terribly difficult. You could like have a beer and stuff while you did that. All right. Hat here. What kind of hat thing do we have going on here? It looks like this is some kind of feltish thing. All right. Let's felt this guy's hat up. Yeah, I'm not going to get rid of my original Xbox because it's not worth anything. Nobody's going to buy it. So why am I going to get rid of it, You want to get Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for Xbox. I've never played any of those. Wait a second. I've played one of them. I think I played one of the Elder Scrolls and I didn't care for it. It was too many rooms were the same. Like I went to a town, I'm like, I don't want to talk to all these people. I like games, and I don't have a problem with a fantasy setting. As a matter of fact, I prefer fantasy to science fiction. Although I've played both, but I prefer fantasy, I think. The cool thing about the Diablo games, I can get the wife to play. And I used to be able to get the daughter to play. Good morning, Mr. Dirk. Kansas snow has delayed a package. Oh. Have I ever read Ancient Warfare magazine? I've picked it up, but I'm surprised. I would subscribe to more magazines if they were digital. I don't want to, wait for something in the mail and... Is this the color I want to use? I don't think this is the color I want to use. All right, we need to try harder than this. All right, where? I know there's another one of these. Maybe I'm incorrect. Or as I like to say sometimes, I made a mistake thinking I made a mistake. I'm not sure I know what I'm looking for. I gotta have like some buff type of color. It's gotta be light to offset his thing, but I want it to have a little bit of color. Let's go with Iraqi sand. F it. So anyways, I was saying the Diablo games, I can get the wife to play. Well, we've played a lot of it, you know. As a matter of fact, when she moved into town, Diablo 2 was out, and she hadn't found a job yet, and she spent all day playing Diablo 2. But that was before, you know, you could play two people on the same screen, so. Yes, the daughter used to be able to play. She's, like, not really interested anymore. But it was, with the Xbox, you can get three people on the same screen. And that, and I'm sure probably the same thing with the PlayStation, that game is better on the console than on the computer. Because somehow the screen is stretched. It's almost like, it's hard to explain. It's almost like when you're running and there's multiple people, it gets elastic a little bit, and it's almost curved a tiny little bit so you can get some perspective. It's a freaking great game. Multiplayer with people in the same room on the same screen. It's a wonderful game, and I've played tens of thousands of hours on it, and I haven't played it in years, but you know. And I've played through all the characters. My wife does not like playing the shooting characters. She likes getting up close and beating on people. I like everything. You know, I actually prefer the ranged characters because you have to play keep away. It's not like you can just put all the armor you can, just, you know, you have to dance around and, you know, do that kind of stuff. I like what I like to call the bow bitch characters, you know. So to run around plinking at stuff, but you know you can't sit there. You need to, you know, you need to get up and move. So it's that little bit of a challenge. But yeah, the wife definitely plays. She says all the time, "Man, I wish you'd come up with a new Diablo." And there just isn't anything out there that is like it at all. There's things that come close, but no cigar. Wallachians are coming around real quickly. Yeah, I'm trying to stay on it. I'm trying to not get involved in other things. We need to get these guys done so we can work on another army. I want to look at other figures for another army, and I'm excited. So, only way I'm going to let myself do that is to finish these guys up. And these guys will be fun to play. I have a feeling these guys are going to be. I'm going to have them in. I'm going to have a soft spot for them, like my Irish. Definitely. I need another white too. There's one already down here. Did I put it away? Put it away. So yeah, I can get the wife definitely to play that. But she doesn't like, you know, really complicated, read this, kind of stuff, you know. The combination between, you know, it's all about finding loot. You know, once your difficulty is so hard, it's difficult to find loot. You know, the game stops being as interesting. It ends up being just a grind, you know, but playing Diablo with friends, we always fought for the loot. Another ketchup lover. Sons of bitches. He's even ketchup colored. I'm surprised. There's actually Dirk doesn't like ketchup either. Like there's freaking 3 of us. I can't believe it. Here's the thing: if ketchup had never been invented, and they made cocktail sauce instead, I'm perfectly happy. I like cocktail sauce. I just don't like ketchup. Why can't I? Here we go. Report. Send him to Siberia. Lots of Saloyat. Uncle Artie. Sounds like my sort of army. It is. Yeah. Yeah. And I love tomato things. I love tomatoes themselves. I have tomatoes every day. It's just I think it's the white vinegar that's in it and the sugar that's in it. And together they just make a concoction that's just poisonous. Guess better hide my ketchup bottle. You can have it. It's just the smell really bothers me. You know? Like I said, I love horseradish things. So cocktail sauce is wonderful. You know? I don't know what it is. There's something in there, you know. Barbecue sauce is fine. Tomatoes are wonderful. You're not one of those people that can't stand tomatoes but has ketchup, do you? Or there's people that I hear about, say, yeah, they just eat fries to eat at the ketchup. I'm like, oh no, that little girl can't sit next to me at the table then. Oh. Unfortunately, my daughter and my wife both like it. Sons of bitches. Ketchup is king of condiments. You shouldn't need condiments. I remember I was going through a Wendy's, right? I was going through a drive-through, and and this was many years ago. This was probably 20 years ago. And I don't mind having lettuce and tomato and all that stuff on a burger, but you got to keep it simple for simple people. So what's the simplest thing? Plain, right? I'll just have the burger plain so you don't screw it up, and and I think I must have ordered a burger that I told them no ketchup, and they gave me only ketchup. And I open up the burger. I'm going down the highway, and I cannot stand the freaking smell of the burger that's permeating. I'm on the interstate. So I can't pull. I could pull over and get rear-ended, right? And I couldn't stand the freaking smell. I threw the damn thing out the window. Like, I'm not going to smell that in my freaking... Somebody that makes minimum wage ain't going to make me eat ketchup. Sorry, ain't happening. That's my 1 liter story, okay? It was biodegradable paper, and the crows ate the damn thing, So, horseradish is awesome. Horseradish is awesome. You don't mind tomatoes? Well, at least you're consistent. I appreciate that. That's fighting words. So we don't squirt guns or sparklers. No, what's wrong with sabers? Why can't we go back to dueling with sabers? Oh. I'm not eating ketchup, period. Ain't gonna do it. And mayo, I won't put mayo on things because I know it's unhealthy. But if it comes with mayo, as long as it's not one of those, oh, you want mayo on it, huh? And you're wearing it, be civilized about it. Oh, man. The things we talk about here, maybe that's why you guys keep coming back for this zany shit. Some people are afraid of clowns. I was afraid of ketchup. I was definitely afraid of ketchup. If I was a kid and got ketchup on me, I'd have to burn the clothes. I don't care about no stupid ass clown. I'm gonna change my channel name to I Hate Frickin' Ketchup. I ain't eating no damn ketchup. Like Mr. T, I ain't eating no ketchup. Squirt guns fill. No. No. Well, if that's the case, I'll grab a Zweihander. I do the mayo squirt sound perfectly. Yeah. For some reason, the only time I like mayo is on bread with hard salami. Mayo with fries. You know what? I've had mayo with fries, and it is actually damn good. But none of us should be having that. That's really... My solution to clowns is called a machine gun. I don't know. I don't know what the thing is with clowns. I didn't like them as kids because I didn't want... I thought their makeup was going to get on me or some shit like that. I don't know. But it's like, how can you be scared of some jackass with big shoes? I mean, he trips on himself. I don't, The guy doesn't take himself seriously. Why should I, Some jackass with big shoes. Yeah, so I like a burger with all kinds of stuff on there, but sometimes I have to order one simple or they'll screw it up, by giving me everything I don't want and none of what I do. So, simple, plain. Here's a favorite one. You ever ordered a plain, I want a cheeseburger plain. You want cheese on it? Yes, otherwise I would have ordered a hamburger. That's why you just go to Chick-fil-A. They can't put any of that red stuff on Chick-fil-A. Or Arby's, right? Arby's has nothing on there. Fries like the forbidden fruit. It's so delicious, so bad, so guilty. Yeah. I don't add mayo to things. We don't need that. We don't need that. All right, let's give this guy a little bit of a highlight here. Oh, somebody's got a loud lawnmower that just went by. Don't make me go out there and race you. Going to keep adding white onto this until this has the correct amount of highlighting. I don't know what kind of fur this is made out of. Maybe it's comes from a sheep or something. I think that guy's about right. Now, what color to do his belt? Well, it's almost like a sash. I feel like it needs to have some color. I'm going to do red. But not too crazy. Not too crazy bright. Da, 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 da. Mr. Skylab. Utah chapter. Welcome back. We better stick with this narrow-ass brush. So I'm going to have most of the weekend to myself, I suspect. The daughter's going to be busy doing schoolwork. So I think I'm going to print out some counters, see if I can learn how to play that dinosaur game, to see if it's worth a damn before I invest hundreds of dollars in freaking toy dinosaurs that we can fight each other with. I'm not particularly interested in playing in 15 millimeter scale dinosaurs, but I'd like to find out if the game is worth a damn. If there's enough meaningful decisions that you get to make from turn to turn. I had this idea about it a couple of years ago, and if you've ever played a game of Pig Wars, that's how I envision it being. You know, you get a random group, maybe you get a Triceratops and its baby or something, and you've got to go graze somewhere or get off the board or do something like that. And, you know, I don't know. I've got the rules. I picked them up. They're very colorful. They look like they wouldn't be that complicated, but uncomplicated rules usually come with a caveat that they're very boring and not very many options are fun to play. So I'd like to find out if that's the case. It comes with counters in the back we can print out and mount on. I'm going to mount them on cardboard. And just throw some stuff out there and see if it's worth diving into. But, you know, I was originally going to paint my own dinosaurs toys because they're relatively cheap, but I just don't want to devote the time to painting something else. I've got enough things to paint. Like a 3D printer. Why in the hell would I want a 3D printer? To create more things for me to paint? I've got plenty. I've got plenty and it takes forever, so I don't need any more of that. There's some nice painted dinosaurs that already come already. Now they're, you know, $20 to $30 a piece, but, you know, I got space for them in my thing here. I've always liked dinosaurs as a kid. So, you loved Bozo when I was a kid in Michigan. That was before my time. Oh, geez, Pig Wars. Fun game. My group played that for quite a while, yeah. I played a game, speaking of Reconquista, there's one of our guys in our Orlando group that puts on some awesome games. One of those folks that if you know he's running a game, you want to play in it because he has a good back history of it. He's actually, well, he's retired now, but he was the assistant principal of a middle school, and he had a gaming club. You know, I had nothing cool like that when I was in middle school. My middle school was just utter and complete hell. It was like the frickin' gulag. But anyway, so he always puts on really good games. And he would put on these Pig War games, and he's done other things. So he does this. He did this Reconquista-based Pig Wars game, and the interesting thing about it is he gives you a character that you need to play. So you've got winning conditions for. So you can't just play however the f you want. I mean, I guess you could, but the whole point is to role play how this character would act or what his winning conditions are within the scope of the game. At least that's how I intend on playing the game, right? So the character, so there was this game, and I think we had 14 players or something like that. We had a lot of players, all in 28 millimeter, on this big 8 by 8 board, or 8 by 10 or 8 by 12. It was a huge freaking board, and you know, we had a couple of Muslim players and the Muslim Emir who, you know, wanted to shout things out and do, you know, you had all these players, people that were in the middle, people that were on the Christian forces or whatever. The main commander of the Christian forces, he's like, I got a character for you. So he gives me, this is probably 2005 when this happened, because we were still in Tampa at the time. He gives me the character, and depending, you've got anywhere between a dozen figures to 24 figures, depending on how strong or how weak they are. The character he hands me is the lieutenant of El Cid. And El Cid had been falsely imprisoned by this guy who happens to be the commander of the Spanish forces. So the guy who's the CNC of the Spanish forces is the guy who double-crossed El Cid and put him in prison. And I am basically El Cid's sidekick, so to speak. Not really sidekick, but I'm his underling. I'm his lieutenant who wants to even the score. So I'm like, okay, well, there was a point where the Christian forces went in, and they obviously want to get their knights to charge and do some heavy damage. They basically crash into the Muslim forces and rout them. In that same turn, I crash into the back of the main commander, and I'm like, I'm here to avenge or whatever. And the guy who's playing the Spanish commander, I've never seen again, because he got so pissed. He got so pissed that I backstabbed him, even though that's what I'm supposed to do. I never saw him again. He got so angry from that. And I didn't do it at the very beginning. I did it, at the right time. Like, he was busy to his front, and I sandwiched him, And, yeah, never heard from the guy again. Stopped going to cons. It's something I would never do. I don't enjoy backstabbing people for no reason. But if that's what the guy's got to do, That's why I don't enjoy playing those games like, the one that comes to mind is that board game Battlestar Galactica. I hate that freaking game. And Mitch does too. It's coincidentally enough, we played it not with each other at two different times. I don't like games where you have to play a traitor. I don't enjoy being that kind of a person. Especially like at the beginning of the game. If you do it like towards the end of the game, it's like, okay, well, somebody's got to win, so here goes, But that's just not unless you're playing against nasty people, and I don't play against nasty people, so I generally don't. I don't go for that sort of thing. But we never heard from this guy again. He got so freaking angry. Like, man, I can't believe you did that. I'm on your side in the CC. I'm like, dude, look at the card. This is my winning conditions or whatever. I don't give a shit. Dude, man, it's just a freaking game, man. You should have laughed about it. Just been like, oh, well. Actually managed to win that Battlestar Galactica game. That is a game that you will not get Mitch and I to ever play again. Ever. First of all, I didn't watch the show. He actually watched the show. And I don't like the fact that you have to play a turncoat and have to try to convince people, lie to people that you're somebody you're not. That's not my personality. I'm not a salesy person. I don't like selling myself. I can do it. I just don't want to do it. I'm not interested in that game. I hate that game. Yeah, I guess a lot of people played that game. Yeah, if you ask Mitch, hey Mitch, what game will you never play? Battlestar Galactica. Right off the bat. Yeah, I won't play that game either. There's another game we played one time that's like Knights of Camelot or something like that, where one of the knights is also a backstabber. I don't want to play games like that. Where the entire game you're faking people out. It's okay to do it, to win, you've got to backstab somebody, but it's just not my thing. Just not my thing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but hey, we all have our reasons why we don't play certain kind of games. That one's mine, Such a tough win for the Colonels that game. I got backstabbed in a samurai game. My ally refused to come to my aid, and my command got surrounded, but managed to break out and kill the enemy leader before running off the board. What samurai game was it? The samurai game could be fun. Just all the noises you can make. Yo, yoto. I'd have fun with that. Maybe too much fun with that. Not the whole time, just when something, appropriate happens. I'm not going to go, what's it called? Method acting. I'm not going to method act the whole thing. That's absurd. Method acting is just a nice way of saying this guy just wants to be a dick all day long. All right, let's see what this guy looks like. I know I've been painting him, but I haven't really looked at him. I don't know if that makes any sense. Let me put them together, and let me put them somewhere where I can see them all together. Remember, I do want them to look drab. These are some poor mofos. Say maybe the leader. My group plays a samurai game, Ronin. It's a real fun skirmish kind of game. It was a beer pretzels game a friend made. My ally and his son. His son got so ticked, essentially won and left him to be destroyed after he backstabbed me. Okay, let's see if we can rotate this. Oh, that's not the one I need to do. Well, maybe it is the one I need to do. Let's get the lighting in the correct thing. Lighting's always off when I'm doing this video. Now, where's the focal point? Over here. It doesn't look like that. This looks super freaking yellow on the screen. Alright, this is not working like I planned. I'm going to leave them as is. F it. That's what we're going to go with. That's what we're going to go with. How long have we been on here? 3 hours and 16 minutes on a work day. Well, the end of a work day. Yeah, I got my samurai army. I got to get to 3.0 status, and I've got quite a few units to paint for that. Yeah, so here's the elements for the artillery. We had a couple little cannonballs floating around here somewhere. Here's one. 2, 3. 3's enough. Just epoxy putty. You can't even see them where I put them. Wrong way. There we go. Yeah, the cannon's finished. It's just not sealed. None of this is sealed. So we're going to go do that right now. And I'll be right back. Okay, while those clowns are drying, let me move this stuff to the side. I don't think we got a 40 by 40 stand ready for them, so we better get that ready. It looks so much better when everything gets done. When it gets sealed, I don't know, it just brings out the freaking colors. I don't know. Magic. Magic, magic, magic. For some reason, these are always... Oh, we need to go back to how we were doing it so you can see me cut myself from up ahead. Generally, that doesn't happen. I have a pretty good track record of that not happening, but I'm going to stop bragging about it. Oh, this is all like limp. There we go. And there. I'm an impatient waiting for things to seal things, so if I want to work on something, I'll let something dry for an hour, and then I'll go give it the flat coat. I ain't waiting no overnight crap. Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Okay, so this is going to be the base for that. Now let's take a look at these. This fast horde, which are these 5 figures. We got a guy with some kind of a glaive or something. These are all Essex figures. We got another guy with a glaive. Different pose. Got a guy with a whooping stick. Or a big turkey leg. Got a guy with a sword. And this guy with one of them type of flail or something. Wacky-doo stick. And they go on a 40 by 30. I'm gonna get that ready too. Already got one out? Yep, already got one out. Already got a magnet? Nope. Doesn't have a magnet. Magnet should be here. I don't think I'm low on anything else. It was just those one side stands that I was low on. The 40 by 20s. Go through a lot of those. All the Bowmen are on that. Fast blades. Every skirmisher known to man. Shit, I better check something. Hold on a second. Let's do this again. Yeah. Let me check this. Oh, I gotta respond to this. Cancel. Just left at 8. Okay. Maybe the daughter's getting home a little earlier than planned. I probably should get off this soon so that I don't have a situation where can't reach me. Because I'm not getting any notifications on this right now. So maybe that's my sign there. I probably should sign off. So let's trim this up, and then we'll pick up where we left off in the morning. Where we will probably start off by gluing the cannon. Well, that's not true. It's kind of a multi-step process. You're going to position the cannon where you want them. It's a little bit like a chariot. You position the cannon where you want it, mark where his wheels are going to be, put the crew where they're going to go, glue the crew down, goop everything down, and then you have to put the cannon on afterwards. Just kind of like how we do the chariot. So, okay, so that's what we're going to do. We'll just sign off almost 3 hours and 30 minutes, and then we'll be back on in the morning at some absurd early hour for those of us here in the United States. But tea time for you guys across the pond. So, anyhow, thanks for stopping by. As always, folks, happy painting. Enjoy what's left of your Friday, or if you guys